Now, I wanted to show you a picture that has done the rounds of Twitter in the past 24 hours. It is of Jason Clare, the Home Affairs Minister, a man some people believe, one day, probably mostly him, that he could become a future Labor Party leader. Now, he was out there congratulating all of his volunteers. Now, what's surprising about that photo? What's just a little bit different about that photo than usual? Is he now suddenly running for the Liberal Party? Who knew? They're all there in their blue. Cheer, cheer. The blue and the white. Honour the name by day and by night. Who knows? But apparently now the official colours of the Labor Party are blue. It follows on from a couple of weeks ago when you would remember the former Immigration Minister, Chris Bowen. He put out a collection of posters that were flogging himself for his local seat, but the colour was orange. So apparently the official colour of the Labor Party is orange and white. Or is it blue and is it white? I'll tell you what it definitely isn't, red, white and blue, and you're not going to find a Labor Party logo on any of this stuff. Now, I also don't understand why Chris Bowen's voting poster looks more so like he's running for Congress in the United States than trying to desperately get over the line and pretend he's not a Labor MP in the lower house. But this poses an interesting issue. Now, in the New South Wales election, most recently, when the Labor Party was so on the nose that, again, candidates, ministers, deputy premiers did everything they could to pretend that they weren't a member of the Labor Party. You see, it was all about trading off their personal reputation, their personal fame that they had put in place inside their electorates. And here we go again. The same thing is now happening, and these are a couple of examples in Western Sydney, but I wanted to get more examples from you. Now, the posters are starting to go up, the flyers are starting to come in, and I'd like to know which candidates should be running for a political party that you know they are a part of, but they are trying to hide it. Send me whatever evidence you can to @PMOnAir. But what I find interesting about this tactic is obviously it's personality politics, good luck with that. But let's imagine, let's just live in fantasy land for a second. Let's live in bizarro world where the Labor Party was able to form a majority in the lower house and they were able to govern for the next 3 years, God forbid. But imagine they could govern for the next 3 years. Well, how exactly will they be able to claim that the Labor Party has a mandate to govern for the next 3 years when effectively what has happened is that every single Labor MP will be elected as their local independent because the branding isn't Labor, the colours aren't uniform. They're even pretending, in Jason Clare's case, to pass themselves off in the same traditional fashion that a Liberal candidate would. Now, obviously we have compulsory voting and sadly far too many people couldn't give a stuff. But I can tell you at this election what people do know the difference between. A government that stinks to high heaven, trying to wrap itself in any other banner than its own, and virtually any other candidate who's on the ballot. This stuff won't work, it never works, it doesn't even confuse people. It makes it look like you're a coward. That you don't want to look people in the eye and say, hey, guess what? I'm Team Labor. I'm a member of this party. I've been a member of this party since I was 15, since I was 25. For the past 10 years, I've been a minister. No, they're passing themselves off as being local independents, and it's not good enough, and it's a trick, and it's a dirty one. So, between now and the election, we've got the best part of 105 days. Get in touch with me @PMOnAir. Doesn't matter if it's the Labor Party, Liberal Party, the Pup Party, I don't care. If you see dirty tricks, get in touch with me, okay? And I'm more than happy to use this forum to embarrass them all.